Chido Obi-Martin is a striker who was developed at Arsenal's academy before he chose not to sign a contract with them and sign for Manchester United instead. Whilst at Arsenal, he would cause waves at youth level. He once would score 10 goals in a single game against Liverpool's under-16s team and would score 32 times in just 20 appearances whilst playing for Arsenal's under-18s. Since he has joined Manchester United, the goal scoring has continued, and he put in some eye-catching performances, recently earning his first call-up to Manchester United's senior team and even making his debut. As well as playing for Manchester United, he currently represents Denmark at youth international level and has played for all of their teams up to the under-18s level. After reading various scouting reports and watching numerous videos on Chido Obi-Martin, it became apparent very quickly as to why Manchester United were eager to take away a player with a high potential ceiling away from a big rival. Looking at the player's game overall, there are some strengths and very few weaknesses. One of his main strengths is an instinct for goal. It doesn't happen by chance. He somehow has this knack of finding himself in the right place at the right time, and it often leads to him being open on goal, which he finishes very clinically. The next advantage that he seems to have at this age group is his physical frame. He stands at 6'2", and this gives him an advantage over many defenders in his age range. Despite his big frame though, he's also an agile player. He often causes defenders problems when he's running straight at them. He can move the ball with ease, and despite being a taller player, is agile enough to beat a man when required to. Despite all of his strengths, the only main weakness that I really could see is he needs to bulk up a little bit in terms of his physicality. There are certain times when he does meet a player that is matched in terms of his physical appearance. He can be easily knocked off the ball, and sometimes that leads to him losing possession when really he could link up his play if he was a little bit stronger. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of Passion 4 FM, we can show you what Chido Obi-Martin would look like if he were part of the FM24 database. This may also unlock some clues as to how the player would look and how he can progress in FM26. If you want to get players such as Chido Obi-Martin into your save games, you're going to need the Passion 4 FM Next Gen database. There will be a link to the database in the description down below. Simply download the database, load a brand new save game, and you will unlock hundreds of brand new Wonderkids that weren't eligible for FM24, but now could be the Wonderkid class of FM26. Right then, in today's video, we're going to use the Next Gen database to look at Chido Obi-Martin's career. I'm going to go 15 years into the future to see how he will develop. I've tried to replicate things to the current day, meaning I've started a brand new save game in 2024. Chido Obi-Martin is 16 years old. He's part of Manchester United's under-18s team. Looking at the player, he's a raw ball of talent to begin the game. Finishing of 13, he has first touch of 12, technique of 11, crossing of 11. In terms of the mental side of his game, he has good aggression, composure, determination is 14, off the ball and work rate are both 12. In terms of the physicals, he has 14 for acceleration, jumping reach, natural fitness, pace is 12 and strength is 12. Just as was mentioned in some of the strengths and weaknesses, in this version of the game he really should have an advantage in the air, and he's already purpose built as a striker to be a strong link up player, and he also should have a lethal finish. Let's start the ball rolling. We're going to jump 5 years into the future and see how Chido Obi-Martin will develop. Okay, we have jumped forwards and reached the first checkpoint, and that is 5 years into the future. It's now 2029. Chido Obi-Martin is a 21-year-old and he's still at Manchester United, although he did go out for a season on loan to Fortuna Dusseldorf to gain some first team experience. Looking at the player and his attributes, he has taken a step forward as a footballer. Looking at the technicals, he scores 15 for finishing, 14 for first touch, 13 for crossing, dribbling and technique. In the mentals, he scores 15 for determination and composure, 14 for off the ball, and in the physicals, he now has 16 for acceleration, 15 for agility, jumping reach and natural fitness, pace, stamina, strength and balance all score 13. In the 5-year time period that we have just jumped forwards, he has also now been capped by Denmark's full national team. He has played 12 times, scoring 4 goals. The period of 21 to 26, jumping forward to 10 years, could be vital for his development. How much more is there to come from the young Dane? As we reach the 10-year marker, we can see that Chido Obi-Martin decided to swap Manchester United for Valencia. It's now 2034, Chido Obi-Martin is 26 years old, and we can see there are some interesting things happening with his development. In terms of the technicals, he now has 16 for finishing, 14 for crossing and first touch, and he scores 13 for dribbling and technique. Not as much progress as I thought there might be. In the mentals, composure is 16, determination of 15. He also scores 14 for flair and off the ball, which is pretty similar to how he was at the age of 21. But in the physicals, he seems to have declined a little bit. Acceleration has gone back down to 15. Agility is also 15, with jumping reach and natural fitness, which have stayed consistent. But balance is 13, pace is 14, stamina is 12, and strength is 13. Now, I do believe that some of this can be attributed to game time. Looking in the bottom right hand corner, just above my head, you can see that he has played 94 times for Valencia, scoring 42 goals, but only played 38 times for Manchester United, meaning in 10 years in game time, he's only played 148 times. Could he now kick on in the last 5 years of the experiment? Will we see any more development as we go to the 15-year point? Okay, we have now reached the last checkpoint. We are 15 years into the future. It's 2039. Chido Obi-Martin is a 31-year-old and he is still at Valencia. He's been capped 96 times by Denmark, scoring 31 goals. Looking at his development, it's still interesting to see what is happening with the player. There are some things that have started to improve, but there are also things that are just stagnating, and maybe he's reached the peak of his powers in that gap of 26 to 31. In the technicals, standout is now finishing of 17, which means it's improved in the last 5 years. First touch is 15, crossing is 15, technique is 14. In the mentals, composure is up to 17, still scores 15 for determination, flair and off the ball. And in the physicals, natural fitness is now the standout with 16, but he has got 15 for acceleration, agility, balance, jumping reach, 14 for pace, 12 for stamina and 13 for strength. Once again, I think that the development was halted in that 21 to 31 range because he didn't really play too many games for Manchester United at the start of his career. But after he joined Valencia is when you start to see him kick on. He's played 239 games, scoring 107 goals, meaning that if you give him first team football, there is probably more development that you can see in this picture. I think the key to unlocking all of his abilities is just to play him and give him that first team appearances that he needs to really unlock his potential. I think in real life, Manchester United think they have a real steal. Now, obviously, the expectation levels have risen. He's made his first team appearance and first team debut in Manchester United's senior squad. Is Chido Obi-Martin a player that you will look to try and steal from Manchester United in FM26, or should we be looking at another Wonderkid? Let me know in the comments section if you will try and sign him or if we should look at somebody else. Right then, that is the journey of Chido Obi-Martin's career. We've gone 15 years into the future to see him develop from Manchester United teenager into a Valencia senior player. I think personally he has done quite well considering the lack of game time at the start, and I do think there is more to be unlocked with Chido Obi-Martin. Once again, to get Chido Obi-Martin into your saved games, don't forget to download the Passion 4FM Next Gen database. The link to that is in the description down below. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you check out all of the other potential Wonder Kids of Football Manager, and I will see you on another video very soon.